They called her the beast in the sack, but the giant cowboy found his heart inside it. Dry Creek, Arizona Territory. Spring, 1871. Dust kicked up like smoke through the midday sun, settling in the folds of skirts and the creases of weathered hands. The town of Dry Creek buzzed with life. Booths lined the dirt street, brimming with peaches, tinware, and scraps of tanned hide. The market was in full roar, a chaotic chorus of bartering, hooves, and gossip. Near the center of the square, a rickety platform had been dragged out, as if for some spectacle, and on it, tethered like cattle, was a girl. She knelt on splintered wood, her wrists and ankles shackled with rust-bitten chains. Her head was shrouded beneath a thick burlap sack that hung past her collarbones, making her look more like an object than a person. The hem of her dress was caked in mud. Her body barely moved. God made her wrong. The woman beside her spat, gray hair twisted like wire, eyes sharp with venom. She is the curse of my womb. A mistake, a punishment. That is no daughter of mine, said the man. Brother, but no less bitter. She was born twisted and has brought nothing but shame. People gathered, murmuring. Some watched with idle interest. Some laughed, some shook their heads. Children pointed. Why died? No one intervened. From down the road came the thunder of hoofs. A black horse, muscled and massive, galloped into view. The rider slowed as he approached the crowd. Wes Remington. The name passed through whispers like a wind through wheat. He was taller than most men dared to be, built like a tree carved from stone. A dust-worn hat shaded eyes that cut like razors. His coat, faded leather, clung to broad shoulders. Sunlight glinted off the iron holster at his side, but it was the way he rode that made people step back as if the earth itself moved aside for him. The horse stopped, dust swirling around its legs. Wes dismounted in one fluid motion, boots landing heavy. He scanned the scene, his gaze locked on the figure in the sack. He walked forward, each step deliberate. How much? He asked, voice low and rough like gravel. The man snorted. You want to take it? He kicked at the girl's side with the toe of his boot. Pay for it. Wes did not flinch. I don't buy people. Then keep walking, stranger. This ain't your business. I make it my business, Wes said, his voice dropping to a cold, dangerous register. When I see a human being treated like a hound, the woman shrieked. She ain't human. Wes's jaw clenched. He took another step forward. The man grabbed a wooden cane and swung it toward Wes's chest. In a blink, Wes caught the cane midair, twisted it, and snapped it clean in half. The man stumbled back. 3 young men, farm hands or thugs, rushed from the crowd to back him up, fists clenched. One lunged. Wes ducked, drove his elbow into the man's ribs. Another came from the side. Wes swept his leg and sent him sprawling. The third hesitated. Wes met his eyes and stepped toward him. The boy turned and ran. Silence fell. Even the chickens had stopped squawking. Wes turned back to the girl. Slowly, gently, he knelt, ignoring the shackles, the stench, the whispers. He reached beneath the sack, not to remove it, but to lift her, arms beneath her legs and back. She did not resist. As he stood with her, cradled in his arms, the chains clinked against his coat, her head lolled against his chest, the burlap brushing his chin. Where you taking her? Someone called out. Wes didn't answer. He walked to his horse, swung into the saddle with the girl still in his arms. She barely weighed more than a deer carcass. He adjusted her carefully, cradled her against him. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. As he rode out of town, someone muttered, "Crazy bastard. Probably going to feed her to the wolves." Another voice followed quieter. Or maybe he's the first one to see she ain't no beast. The sun burned high overhead. The dust settled slowly behind them. The Remington Ranch sat 10 miles beyond Dry Creek, nestled against a ridge of dusty hills and sunburnt mesquite. The land stretched wide and open with only the wind and the soft creak of wooden fences to break the silence. Wes rode in just past sundown, the girl still in his arms. He dismounted slowly and carried her inside the modest house, a worn but sturdy home with a kitchen, stone hearth, and a small sitting area. 3 sets of eyes blinked up at him from behind a wooden table. "Who's that?" asked Caleb, 6 years old, freckle-faced and barefoot, his voice filled with curiosity rather than fear. The girl's head stayed bowed, her burlap hood unchanged, her chained hands rested motionless in her lap. Wes didn't answer the question. She's our guest, he said simply. Treat her kind. The twins, two little girls with matching braids, peered around the table's edge. Is she a witch? One whispered. Wes shot them a glance. No, and no more talk like that. He laid a blanket in the corner by the hearth, then gently helped the girl sit down. She moved with quiet resistance, not speaking, not lifting her head. Her hands still trembled. That night, Wes brought her warm stew and fresh bread. She did not touch it until the room was empty. For the next few days, she stayed in that corner like a shadow, silent, watching, her face never visible beneath the sack. But the children, being children, were far less cautious. They would sneak closer inch by inch, playing games in the same room. The twins started calling her Sack Lady. Caleb corrected them. No, she's Miss Noise. Eventually, they settled on a name, Miss Sack. One afternoon, while Wes was out fixing a broken gate, the children gathered near the hearth with crayons and paper. They giggled as they began drawing on the burlap. Smiley faces, flowers, suns. One twin carefully balanced a flower crown atop her head. Ada flinched but did not stop them. Then Caleb leaned closer and whispered, "We want to see your real face." She shook her head once, but the twins had already begun pulling at the sack, giggling as if it were a game. Ada's fingers went to the hem to stop them, but not fast enough. The burlap slipped and for the first time her face was visible. The children froze. Her left side was delicate, untouched, porcelain skin, a graceful cheekbone, lashes as dark as her hair. But the right side was a map of pain. A long burn scar ran from her temple down to her jaw, twisted and tight, turning the skin into a patchwork of old suffering. The contrast was jarring. The twins gasped. One stepped back. Ida scrambled to the floor, groping for the sack. Her breath came fast, chest heaving. She yanked it back over her head, pulling it tight. Then she looked up and saw Wes in the doorway. He had returned early. He had seen everything, but he said nothing. He did not look away, did not pity, did not flinch. He simply watched her for a few seconds, eyes steady, unreadable, then turned and walked back outside. Ida sat there shaking. She had seen that look before too many times. Shock, horror, disgust. But Wes had offered none of those. He had seen her and said nothing. And somehow that was worse and yet better. She did not cry. But that night, when she lay on the pallet, sack still over her head, she could not sleep. Her thoughts spun too loudly. The children did not tease her again. In fact, the next morning, Caleb placed a drawing by her blanket. It showed a stick figure with a flower crown and a big smile. On the right side, he had scribbled a red line, but it was still smiling. She traced it with her finger, then folded the paper and hid it in the folds of her dress. For the first time, she looked out the window and watched the sky. The fire crackled low in the hearth. Outside, the wind whispered through the dry brush, rattling the window panes with soft, rhythmic taps. The twins were asleep, curled in their shared bed. Caleb's breathing was steady, slow. Wes sat in his chair by the fire, sharpening a blade with slow, measured strokes. Ida remained in her corner, half in shadow. The sack still covered her face. Her hands were folded in her lap, unmoving. She had not spoken all day. He set the knife down. "You hungry?" he asked. She did not respond. He stood, ladled hot stew from the pot and carried it to her. When he knelt and offered the bowl, she hesitated, then reached out with both hands. Her fingers brushed his. He did not move away. She brought the bowl to her lap, but still did not lift her head. Wes sat back on his heels, elbows resting on his knees. "You don't have to talk," he said. "But I figure maybe you've gone a long time without anyone listening." She sat silent. "I don't think you're a monster," he added, eyes fixed on the fire. "I think you're hurt." A beat of silence passed, then another. Her voice, when it came, was barely more than breath. "My name is Ada." He turned toward her but didn't speak. "I was burned," she said. "When I was 5, the lantern fell, caught the whole side of the room. My mother said it was my fault that I knocked it over. I don't remember if I did." She paused, her hands tightened around the bowl. "She wouldn't look at me after that. Said I ruined myself. Said she couldn't love something so ugly." Wes's jaw clenched. My father started keeping me indoors, covered my face when company came. When I turned 10, he made me wear the sack. Her voice cracked, said it was better for everyone. A log popped in the hearth. The fire shifted. I don't wear it to hide the scar, she said. I wear it to hide the shame other people poured on me. It soaks in, you know, like smoke and fabric. After a while, you start to think, maybe they're right. She set the bowl down on the floor beside her. Still did not lift her head. I should have kept it on, she whispered. The kids, they're fine, Wes said gently. They were scared. No, just surprised. Kids aren't born cruel. They learn that from adults. Another pause. I have never said this much to anyone, she murmured. Maybe no one's ever deserved to hear it before, Wes replied. He stood slowly, then reached down and extended his hand, not to pull the sack away, not to uncover her, but to let her know he was there. She did not take it. Instead, she let one hand rise, tremble, and then settle in his palm. Wes didn't squeeze, didn't pat. He just let his hand rest there, warm and steady. I got 3 kids, he said after a moment. Hey friends. If you like this video, you know what to do. That's right. Hit that subscribe button, and don't forget the bell. Smash it so you're the first to get notified when the next big drop hits.